for Health, Education, Public Works and Infrastructure will this morning announce measures to their departments in terms of implementing the containment measures for COVID-19 infections at schools in Middleburg and Burgersdorp. The MECs will also give details of how many cases have been reported and what they did to prevent further infections at schools in the two towns. Their briefings come a day after the country moved to alert level 1 of the lockdown. Abongile Yankees is there. Let's Abongile, what are the MECs saying this morning?
A very good morning to you, Desiree, and to the viewers at home. Well, the briefing has just concluded here in East London, where the three MECs for Public Works, Education and Health announced a collaborative effort into curb the spread of coronavirus, especially now that it's alert level 1, and especially now that it's the trial exams and children are writing and their exams, and schools have reopened, or most people are going to schools. It has been briefed here that 98% of teachers here in the Eastern Cape have returned to school, and and children are also making their way. Some have not come back due to challenges such as pregnancies and other stuff like that. But some are still wary of coming to school because this virus has not escaped us. But poor compliance to lockdown regulations have contributed that to these numbers of infections increasing. But it only becomes seen when they are at school. But to tell us more about this and what other issues came out of it, I'm now joined by the MEC for Education here in the province, Mr. Fundile Gade. MEC, a very good morning to you, and thanks for your time. You just announced a collaborative effort. Kindly take us through it.
Good morning to you and the viewers of the SABC. We have actually learned in the recent days that we have got an outbreak in Burgersdorp and Middleburg, and one of the institutions that are within the townships in those towns. But critically for us was on how best do we ensure that the multidisciplinary task team in the context of the rapid response team established by the Premier of this province, and also the departments that are in that collaborative framework, your Department of Health as a leader, Department of Education, Department of Social Development, Department of Public Works, and also the affected municipality wherein an outbreak might arise. We have been able to pick up the challenge that actually informs the outbreak, which we are comfortable with it, and also we've been able to put our house in order by isolating those that have been identified in 2 incidents, and also quarantine the ones that are positive out of the Etembin, in particular in Burgersdorp. But what is key for us was to ensure that we act swiftly, ensure that the kids that are affected can be able to go back and write examinations because we're undergoing a trial examination now, but also find a way of ensuring that in the quarantine sites, the educators and the Department of Education via the Subject Advisory Section and also the Examination and Assessment Directorate can be able of being assistance to those learners, because that we have got an outbreak is not going to postpone the examinations in the country. Hence, yesterday we took a decision, myself and the HOD, to ensure that the directorate concerned write to the DPE for the exemption of the 3 which in Etembin are doing grade 12. That we have done, and that is a matter that, of course, we have concluded by now. So that's how best we have been able to manage that space and ensure that the other grades that are affected are dispersed everywhere where they could be safe and also be given extra work for them to be able to complete their respective grades from where they are.
Are you still aiming for this 80% pass rate, even though we've lost so much time, and now that we have moved to level 1 and people are returning to school? In terms of these outbreaks, are you still aiming for that 80% pass rate for the matriculants?
I can safely say so because we have not been hit quite very badly by the COVID-19 and lockdown in the context of grade 12. Because remember, in the province we reintroduced the e-learning program far earlier than the lockdown itself, as if we anticipated that the country is going to be in the storm of the COVID-19. So we were able to introduce the visual classes, also your camps, where majority of schools are being grouped, and also your e-learning in the context of ensuring that the subject advisory section is able to feed the kids with the necessary information, and also with the assistance of the teachers that are at that space. So I don't foresee a problem in grade 12 in general in the country, and in particular in the province. In as much as we have got dropouts because of the COVID-19 related matters. For example, in the province we have got 154 learners that have not returned back. But when you look closely to that dropout, it's not that much significant in the context of the percentages and ratings of the schools that we have, and also comparing with the dropouts of the previous academic years, there is not that much of a difference. The only difference is that we are registering now and making them publicly.
In terms of PPEs, in order to avoid a second wave of infections, are there sufficient PPEs at our schools?
Yes, we remember we have ordered the PPEs as a province on quarterly basis. It's a 3-month project, and in terms of the plan of the province, they are supposed to be procuring other PPEs either the first or second week of October, and disperse them to schools back again, so that we can close up the last quarter of the year. So that's how we have been able to manage the space in the context of safe.
Due to time constraints, let's keep it there for now. I thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Well, Desiree, that was the MEC for Education here in the province, Fundile Gade, briefly telling us about what transpired here and their plans to curb coronavirus and ensure that the academic year is not lost. From us here in East London, myself, Abongile Yankis, and my colleague, Agobile Vena, it's back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, Abongile. Now back to this big story.